The hand that rocks the cradle isn't just a cute little saying, it is an immortalized fact. The mothers of a nation mold its institutions, develop its character, shape its destiny. The great and noble characters who left their immortal imprint on our nation's history were not fashioned on battlefields or in palaces, but in the cradle and at the fireside. Home is where liberty begins. We cannot expect to have a nation of patriots who love liberty and respect the Constitution if we are not raising these patriots in our homes, while others will try to convince us the most important things that we can do to save America and preserve liberty are outside our homes. We know it is what we do inside our home that has the greatest influence on our nation. The greatest act of patriotism a mother will ever perform will be within the walls of her own home. We don't need more government. We need more women of virtue, women of faith who will cultivate a foundation of faith in the hearts of her children, women of courage who will be ambassadors of truth, who will defend and protect the family at all cost. We need women infused with patriotism who will teach and nurture the principles of liberty and virtue our nation was founded on. Women who will foster a deep love and respect for our beloved America and all she stands for. We need an army of mothers who will raise a nation of patriots. That is how we will save our beloved America. By growing stronger citizens, citizens who cannot be oppressed, who are capable of facing tough challenges, citizens who are still in love with liberty, know its cost, and are willing to pay the price. America will stand because America is bigger than a government. It is American families united in purpose, filled with the spirit of freedom. It is the spirit of the people that makes America free. The plane full of patriots that went down in a Pennsylvania field. The firefighters who walked into a crumbling building when everyone else was running out. The men and women sleeping in tents in 100-degree heat in Iraq and Afghanistan. It is the mothers teaching their children, the small business owners fighting for their dream, and the children who place their hands over their hearts to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Liberty begins at home, and there's no place like home to restore hope in America. As mothers, we have a divine inherent right to protect and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our children. Hope for America is reflected in our vision of the future. You and I, we hold the key. We are the keepers of the flame. We must do everything in our power to pass on that flame, make sure it burns bright, and that it continues to be a light on the hill and a beacon of hope to the world. We are the hope of America. We are the last line of defense between freedom and servitude. What we know and what we nurture in the hearts of our children will literally determine the fate of the free world. We can no longer stand on the sidelines. The future of America is in our hands. There is hope for America, and it is you.
All right, next, I want you to give a very warm Mom's March welcome to Jean Stothert. She is the mayor, the first female mayor, yes, of the city of Omaha, and she's going to lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome, Mayor Stothert.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you again today. Please be seated, just for a few minutes. All of you, and especially for those who were not at the banquet last night, please accept my sincere thanks for being here. It's an honor to welcome those who are visitors to our wonderful Omaha metropolitan area, and we hope you all enjoy your stay here. In a moment, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. The words of the pledge and the founding principles of your organization seem to be made for each other. The origin of both is separated by decades, but the focus of both is faith, liberty, freedom, and justice, and it says so much about our country. Each day we read and hear those who proclaim America's shortcomings, our challenges, and where we've fallen short. Well, I prefer to highlight that America is still strong, and it is still the leader of the free world. Let us remember and appreciate the sacrifice of those in every generation who fought and died for our freedoms. Let us appreciate the work of the first responders whose dangerous work protects us every day. And thank you to those who work tirelessly and advocate for the freedoms that some take for granted: the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of press, and the freedom of assembly, just as we are doing here today. And a special thank you to the women and the mothers of America. All of you, in ways too numerous to mention, shape families and neighborhoods and communities to reflect the great traditions of our great country. These American traditions of hard work, integrity, service to others, generosity, and patriotism are alive and well because of all of you. In this spirit of American optimism and renewal, I ask you all to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all and enjoy your day today.
Thank you so much, Mayor. You know, sometimes as I'm driving along in my car, I hear beep, 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 like hurry, get out of the way, and somebody comes speeding past me, and it's always Kimberly. And then she weaves off, and she takes her high occupancy vehicle, and she dashes off on some other road, and then she gets back on, and she's still ahead of me in the HOV lane. I don't even know how she does that. How does she pull off and then still be ahead of me? That is Kimberly Fletcher. She is busier than any person I know and doing more things than anyone else. She is the founder and president of Homemakers for America. She is a host on The Answer Omaha and the executive director of the Moms March for America. Please welcome Kimberly Fletcher.
Wow, you guys look fantastic. How many of you are wearing lavender? All right. I see a sea of lavender out there. I am so excited to have you guys here. This has been a long road. I will say that it was a big prompting from the Lord that I answered, and we're here. This is the beginning of a great movement, and all of you are here at the beginning of this movement. And what I want you to do is help me spread it. God is calling his daughters together to stand up for truth, for freedom, for family, and for the Constitution of the United States, because it protects our divine rights as mothers, as fathers, as individuals in this country. How you can do that? You can do that. This is not a no picture, no Facebook, no video zone. This is a bring it on zone, okay? I want you to Facebook Live, Moms March Facebook page, Moms March for America. We're Facebook Living. You can link with us. I want you to Facebook Live. I want you to take pictures, post them on the page, share them with us. We'll share them, and let's make this movement rock. I will tell you that in the last couple of days, this little movement that everybody was trying to ignore has been blown out of the water. We have had thousands of mothers all across America sign the Declaration of Mothers. If you guys have had an opportunity to read that declaration, you know what it stands for. Here is a pledge card. And when I get off the stage, I'm going to send these down with our ushers, and I encourage you to take this, read it, sign it, keep it with you. This means that you're a part of this movement, and share it with others. These are the things we care about. These are the things we want to see promoted in our country, in our homes, in our communities, in the policies that are shaped. The Declaration of Mothers is our voice. It is a uniting way that we can all come together and say, this is where we're going to start. This is the standard that we're going to raise. Thomas Jefferson had a very famous quote that very few people ever remember. Adore God, reverence and cherish your parents, love your neighbor as yourself, and your country more than yourself. What a theme and what a motto. This is what we as mothers are going to teach our children. So the media that has ignored us, we will be the media. Today we found out that our Facebook donate button has been down for over 3 weeks. And when I tried to go in and see what the problem was, there was no problem. Facebook has locked us out. So those of you who have been trying to donate, you can donate right through our website at momsmarchusa.com and let Facebook try and shut that baby down. We appreciate any help that you can give us because this has truly been a grassroots effort. And I want to thank all the volunteers, including our security. We have an incredible list of security people here who are helping us. I don't want to miss any one of them. Spiritual Tactical, 88 Tactical, Sons Security, 3% Patriots, you rock guys, and the Ralston and Omaha Police Department. They got us covered, ladies. I also want to thank our sponsors because we could not do this without them. And I want you to know that they are very courageous because there are a lot of people we reached out to who weren't so courageous or didn't feel like this was something that was worth putting money into. And I want you to know that this has been paid for largely by women, moms pulling $1,000, $2,500 out of their purses. We are building this movement together, and we don't need George Soros's pocketbook. You can look around the room and you can see who these awesome sponsors are: Loving Liberty, PureFlix, Colonial Flag, Hillsdale College, Bot Radio, Salem Radio, KFAB. AMAC was one of the first ones that came in. I made a call and they said, yes, ma'am, we'll do this because it's the right thing to do. If you're over 50 and you're not a member of AMAC, please sign up. They're part of the Moms March. All right, folks. We're going to get this show rolling. Every speaker that you are going to hear tonight is going to have their own individual message that God has put on their heart. The message He has put on mine is that you are the heroes. You are the ones that are going to save this nation. And God is counting on you, and God bless you all.
Welcome on behalf of Phyllis Schlafly's Eagles of Iowa. We're thrilled that you're here. And as a native Nebraskan, to you Nebraska Husker fans that have foregone today's Husker home game, we really thank you. We know that there are more important things maybe than a Husker game, and that's being a mom. But you're here because you understand that. Many of you know the iconic Phyllis Schlafly, who founded Eagle Forum in 1972, and maybe you watched her on the national stage as she fought for issues that are so dear and defended our country. One of the greatest privileges I ever had was getting to know Phyllis on a personal level the last few years of her life. And the thing that she cherished so much was being a mom. She was mother to 6. She was a woman who knew that inherent value of motherhood. And she was often asked, what is the most incredible thing that you've done with your life? And people would be expecting her to say something that she had accomplished on the national level. But you know what her answer was? She taught her children how to read. Think about that. I'm sure that, we are just amazed that such a strong woman would go back to teaching her children how to read, but it spoke to how important she knew that strong families were, spending time with their children was. And she just held up the value of motherhood because she knew that strong families make a strong culture. So as you're listening today, we hope that you're going to be inspired in your role as a mom, and we hope you're going to be leaving knowing how important what you do in your home is to our culture. Events like this, they're nice. They can refresh us and encourage us, inspire us. But know that it's what happens after you leave today that's the big event. I have a plaque above my kitchen sink. It's a quote by Robert Brault. Maybe you've heard of this one. It says, "Enjoy the little things in life, for one day you'll look back and realize they were the big things." Thank you, and enjoy your day today.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I am Tamara Scott. I'm honored to serve as the State Director for Concerned Women for America. We are the women's group, the largest women's public policy organization in the nation. Beverly LaHaye started this group back in the 70s when she heard those feminists talking and realized they do not speak for us. She loved her family. She was proud to be a mother and a wife. And so in her kitchen, at her table, she started a little group that has grown to be now the largest women's public policy organization in the nation. We still meet at kitchen tables around the nation. And if you'd like more information, you can go to cwfa.org to join us, because we talk about all the public policy issues. You name me one issue that isn't a women's issue. I don't care if it's military, education, health care, car care, I don't care what it is, we deal with it all, and we're concerned about everything because we're raising tomorrow's leaders. The left would have you believe you're no more important than your reproductive organs. We look at you for the principle, the character, and the woman that God has created you to be. And if you leave nothing else, thinking about nothing else today, I want you to understand who God has called you to be, the woman He has created for you. Look at our children today. We let the schools take over sex ed, and now they don't even know what sex they are. Ladies, they need us. In spite of what society is telling you, I am honored in my roles that I get to work with, and I did this after my kids left the house. I prayed to God if He'd let me stay home as a stay-at-home mom, I would go wherever He wanted when my kids were gone. At age 18, when my youngest turned 18, I was in Ethiopia 3 weeks later, never saw that trip coming. God is faithful. And now I get to speak with advisors, foreign leaders, and congressional members, and I can tell you, ladies, there is not one role more important on the face of this earth than what you're doing as a mother, a grandmother, a mentor, a caregiver to tomorrow's generation. We're dealing with trillion-dollar debts, and we could do away with that debt if we could do away with our welfare, our social issues, and that's corrected in the home. Bullying is a trend now. Everybody's talking about stopping bullying. Did you know that kids who grow up in homes without two biological parents are 14 times more likely to suffer bullying? Kids who are growing up in homes of cohabitating adults are 33 times more likely to suffer physical abuse. Ladies, you and I hold the key, not just to America, but to your children's future, not just here on earth, but for eternity. You and I, let's take it, let's go with it. Leave this place today emboldened and empowered, and let nobody take away the role God's given you.
Thank you so much, ladies. You know, the moms are not just gathered here today, but we've been here through the weekend. And last night, when we were having dinner together, 100 moms huddled in a room. I guess 100 of us can't really huddle. But as we were sitting in the room, I got a treat for dessert. I got this little piece of candy. And as I sat next to Candy and held her hand, I said to her, "Candy, what do you want me to say? You've done so many things in your life. What do you want me to say to introduce you?" And she said, "Could you please not say anything? I have so much to tell these women. I want all the time for myself." So I'm just going to say one thing, and that's that her husband, Ben, is very lucky to be married to her. Welcome, Candy Carson.
That's so sweet. Please have a seat. It is so wonderful to be here with such dedicated moms. And I'm going to apologize at the beginning because they only gave me 8 minutes, and even I wrote it out, and I was able to do it in 8 minutes and 10 seconds yesterday. So pardon me for reading, because if I go off
this, then I'll go off. So please forgive me. I'm going to read it because, and it is from the heart. I wrote it and rewrote it. So again, pardon me. First, I'd like to thank all of you who you are and for what you do. You wouldn't be here if you were not dedicated moms. So thank you for directing, enriching, and nurturing the lives of your children to prepare them to be dependable, dedicated people who can be trusted not only with their futures, but with the future of our nation as well. I think we're all aware that our country is in danger in several ways. Number one, the $20 trillion debt not only puts our entire nation at risk, it also threatens to rob future generations of the many opportunities that we ourselves have had and the privilege of choosing and also any sort of reasonable lifestyle. In the past, each generation would try to make things better for the next generation. But our generation is stealing from our children and grandchildren with this exorbitant debt. When it was $18 trillion, to pay the debt off at a rate of $10 million a day, and that's nothing to sneeze at, that would take 5,000 years. Number two, our borders are so open that not only are Central and South Americans crossing illegal into our country, but this illegal highway is being utilized by many from other countries who infiltrate so they can bring America down. When we visited the border on the campaign trail, the sheriff showed us areas along the border where a truck could easily drive through. And with the law being what it was last year, the sheriff would periodically receive calls from the federal authorities saying something like, "We have 3 illegal aliens. We're going to drop them in your jurisdiction." And each of them would have a rap sheet about as long as your arm. And the sheriff would ask where they were going to be dropped, wanting to consider the safety of his constituents. Well, the response would be, "We can't tell you that." Now, how in the world is the sheriff supposed to protect his people if he doesn't know where these hardened criminals who got into America illegally are? Number three, there's Kim Jong-un, who would love to show off to the world that he can beat the United States to prove how much stronger and better his country is by using nuclear weapons. With the financial sanctions against his country, he would be more than willing to sell his nukes to anyone, including terrorists. And these terrorists have their own set of rules about what's right and wrong. To them, blowing up the whole world would be a good thing for their ill-conceived cause. Number four, there are others who want to destroy us besides the terrorists and want to establish a new world power. Number five, our electric grid is extremely vulnerable and would be devastated by a blast in the exo-atmosphere or a way past due electromagnetic pulse from the sun. We don't have a backup system in place. Cars, traffic signals, TV, your cell phones would not work. It would be mass chaos all over. Number six, healthcare. Number seven, education. 8, taxes. 9, employment. I know I didn't name them all, but you get the gist. How do we get here? By allowing our representatives, many of whom don't truly represent us, kick that proverbial can down the road. Their reasoning, we don't have to deal with this now. Let's just table it until later. Our founding fathers said our system of government is based on a well-informed and well-educated populace. But we are not truly educated anymore. Our schools' books have been rewritten with a focus on indoctrination rather than true history. And many of the mainstream media, I only have 8 minutes, please. And many of the mainstream media have become unethical in their reporting, often putting out bold-faced lies as to what actually happened. Clap here, yeah. Thank you. But our nation is sick and wounded. But we do have people who care. Although the various departments of the current administration do not all have their assistant secretaries in place, the heads of each of those departments, they're getting things done. You don't hear about it in mainstream media because they have a different agenda than keeping our citizenry informed and America strong for future generations. And although they are the only business protected by our Constitution because they're supposed to keep everyone informed of the truth, they have become unethical and manipulative to try to steer the minds of everyone to their way of thinking. Those who want to take over our country knew they only needed to gain control of 3 things in order to bring the United States down: our children, the press, and our judicial system. For the children, it was Vladimir Lenin who said, "Give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted." The stuff they've been teaching our kids reflects this philosophy. Checkbox number 1. The press, fairly obvious. Checkbox number 2. And our judicial system, they almost had it. If President Trump's opponent had been elected, they would have completely succeeded and reached their goal. And this goal is something they've been working on since the 1950s. So of course, with that goal so close within their grasp, they've had a hard time dealing with reality. As a result, they belittle and make fun of any little nuance, ignoring the actual facts. Yesterday was the anniversary of a rather short but famous speech. I'm sorry. You all remember Nathan Hale, the Yale graduate who became a teacher and enlisted with the Connecticut militia when the Revolutionary War broke out in 1775. A couple of months after the war started, General George Washington was desperate to get intel about the Brits' movements to prevent them taking New York City. When he put out a request for a spy to scout out the situation, there was only one volunteer who responded to this request, Nathan Hale. Well, one of Lieutenant Hale's officer buddies tried to talk him out of such a dangerous mission, but Hale's response was, "I wish to be useful, and every kind of service necessary for the public good becomes honorable by being necessary." He continued, "If the exigencies of my country demand a peculiar service, its claim to perform that service are imperious. If the exigencies, those urgent demands of my country, demand a peculiar or different sort of service, our country's claim to perform that service, we've got to do it." Hale was captured on September 21st by an American loyalist, a traitor to the American cause, and British General William Howe ordered Hale to be hanged the next day without a trial. Hale wrote a farewell letter to his mother and brother, but it was destroyed by the Brits, who didn't want it to be known that a man could die with such firmness of conviction. Hale requested a Bible. It was denied. Hale requested a clergyman, also denied. The Essex Journal later reported, and I quote, "At the gallows, he, Hale, made a sensible and spirited speech. Among other things, he told them that they were shedding the blood of the innocent, our Americans, and that if he had 10,000 lives, he would lay them all down if called to it in defense of his injured, bleeding country." Freedom is not free. You have to be vigilant and useful, as Nathan Hale said. In the Bible book of Proverbs, it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go." Hale would not have been so dedicated to his country had his mother not instilled in him that tenacious resolve to do what is right. And think about this. In the midst of all these devastating hurricanes lately, you see the positive peer pressure of people whose mothers instilled in them the Judeo-Christian principles of caring about your fellow man and helping each other. The positive peer pressure of these caring ones multiplies when those who were not brought up that way see their positive example and join in and help out too. However, in our vigilance for freedom, we must also keep track of those we have voted into office. Please go online and check to see how they voted on issues. And if they're not behaving, as Hale said, for the public good, vote them out. When you look at the news, watch both sides, Fox and any other one, to get an idea of what's really true. The senators who are holding up progress, should they remain in office if they're not doing the job of representing us? I think not. On a more positive note, there's a particular patriotic family that's determined to help the U.S. get our Judeo-Christian values back, and that's the Green family that developed the Hobby Lobby chain. The Bible Museum established by this family, yes. The Bible Museum established by this family owned the largest collection of biblical scrolls in the world, but they're going to be opening this Bible Museum on November 17th. They had a replica of the Liberty Bell made, and it's tuned to the same note as the one in Philly. At 11:17 a.m. on 11/17, that replica of the Liberty Bell will ring. And they've coordinated with churches all across our nation to ring at the same time. Let freedom ring. Remember in our Declaration of Independence, our liberties come from who? God. And although it's not a part of the Smithsonian, admission is still free. There's displays of the Bible and also displays on the impact of the Bible, including prisoners who learned about it while incarcerated and later became preachers of the gospel. There's a place where you can walk on water, a place where you can be like Samson and knock down walls. And a 140-foot-long digitized ceiling can display biblically themed artwork from around the world. It'll be the Sistine Chapel for a few minutes and then morph into another beautiful painting. And the two 40-foot-tall brass doors at the entrance are larger-than-life reproductions of the Gutenberg Bible printing plates of the first 2 pages of the Bible. So the challenge is, don't lose hope. Keep persevering in your vigilance, nurturing, enriching, and enlightening as God continues to bless America through you. Thank you.
Oh, see? Yes. Exactly, exactly. Now you've all had the treat of a little piece of candy too. It's pretty good, right? Pretty good. So about 10 years ago, there were 4 cute little redheaded girls. They just kept begging their parents, please, we want an instrument. I want a guitar, I want a banjo, I want a bass. You know, what kid is saying, Mom, Dad, I want a stand-up bass? Their parents relented and they got them the instruments, and the kids started playing and singing together. They weren't necessarily that good in the beginning, but they persevered. And eventually they got really good, and they were singing everywhere, all over their home state of Alaska. They got so good that they decided it was their mission to go learn about music, the roots of music. So the family took a vote, and they sold everything they had, including the brand new dream house they had just built. And they packed up their belongings in a little tote. Each one of them got 1 tote, and they drove off to discover music. So for the last 10 years, this family's high-occupancy vehicle has been a motorhome that they take and tour around the country, spreading the joy of music and the love that they have in their family. They take turns driving, 3 generations, all of them singing as they drive across the country. Welcome, Redhead Express.
Thank you so much.
A young mother holds her new baby in the morning light, a window of hope for the future in his eyes. The real miracles of heaven are the babies he sends, and a gentle touch of a tender mother's hands. We are the hands of heaven, the heart that touches mankind, guiding generations one tender heart at a time, shaping the future, the full measure of her worth, God's angels of hope on earth. We keep looking on the outside in search of peace, but God does his work through small and simple means. When a wrong needs a right, or a truth needs conveyed, God touches the heart of a mother and he waits. We are the hands of heaven, the heart that touches mankind, guiding generations one tender heart at a time, shaping the future, the full measure of her worth, God's angels of hope on earth. touches mankind, guiding generations one tender heart at a time, shaping the future with full measure of her work. God's angels of hope on earth. God's angels of hope on
Thank you very much.
What a beautiful song. What a beautiful tribute to all of the moms who are here today. That song, one of the writers of that song was Kimberly Fletcher, who is, you know, the Moms March, exactly. Right? I told you she's busier than anyone else that I know. One of the things that you just don't expect is that as you're driving your car, one of your kids might not make it to the end of the journey. Karen Vaughn lost her Navy SEAL son, Aaron, but somehow she is able to pull on his warrior strength and find a way to spend her time reaching out and trying to lift up the rest of us. She wrote a book about his life. It's titled World Changer. If you haven't read it yet, you need to get it. It is world changing. It makes you look at the world in a different way. Please welcome Gold Star mom, Karen Vaughn.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you very much. You know, on August 6, 2011, the sacred was torn from my life. When I got that proverbial knock on the door that started with, "From a grateful nation," and ended with, "Your son died last night." You know, Aaron was a Navy SEAL. He was a part of SEAL Team 6. He was shot down in a helicopter heading into battle, running to the fight. And I'm thankful to God that if he had to die, he died that way, running to the fight. He was an amazing man. He was a kid who knew exactly what he was created to do from the time he was about 8 years old, and he lived that dream. And I thank God that men like him lived. And I thank God that I have the privilege of sharing the story of his life across this country. You know, on that morning, August 6th, I'll never forget, you know, the feeling that I had. I remember just feeling like life had been sucked out of me. I felt like I did not want to live anymore, not because I didn't love and cherish the things that were still here on earth, but because the pain that I was suffering physically was so intense I could not imagine how I could live out the rest of my life under that sort of pain. But here's what I'm here to tell you today. God was there. He was always there. And because my son had an exquisite faith in Christ, that he accepted Jesus as a Savior at a very young age, we know that even though he died 7,000 miles away from all of us who loved him, he took his last breath in the arms of the one who loved him more than any of us could have loved him. Psalm 145, 13 through 17 says, "The Lord always keeps his promises. He is gracious in all he does. The Lord helps the fallen and lifts those bent beneath their loads. The eyes of all look to you in hope. You give them their food as they need it." In other words, what they need when they need it. "When you opened your hand, you satisfy the hunger and thirst of every living thing. The Lord is righteous in everything he does. He is filled with kindness." See, I realized that morning that because of my son's life, I knew immediately that God had given me a story, a testimony to share, because Aaron lived a life that was so well lived. He left a legacy. And isn't that what we want to do as moms? We want to raise up the next generation to be legacy-leaving, world-changing, fire-breathing kids, right? I'm done with weakness. I'm done with timidity. I want us to raise up a generation that knows what they believe and why they believe it. Not just what they know, but why they believe it, so they can't be confused
When the arrows of lies come shooting at their brains, they know what they believe because we taught them. You know, I know that we're in a heck of a mess right now. We are in a heck of a mess in our nation, and our culture has never been more out of control, has it? I mean, I never dreamed that I would see the day that women wearing pink, weird, creepy hats would be celebrated and we would be ignored. I never dreamed I'd see that day. But here's what I believe with all my heart. I'm an optimist. I'm that person who says no matter if you think the glass is half full or half empty, the glass is what it is and the water level is where it is. So let's just assume it's half full, right? Because here's what I want to say to you. The secret of change, and us moms of all the people across this country, we have the power to create change because we are raising the next generation. And here's the truth of it. The secret of change is this, ladies. You can write this down if you want to because I love this, is to focus all of our energy not on fighting the old, what's behind us, but on building the new. And that's what we can do. We can grieve what's happened to our nation, and we can spend all of our time complaining and moaning about it, and it's worth moaning over. But listen, we have the chance to change it. We are starting a movement here that is not going to stop today. It is not going to stop today. And here's what I want to leave you with, and I pray that you would just say these words with me in your heart, is that I am no longer willing to accept the things I cannot change. It is time to change the things I cannot accept, and I will do it as a mother and a grandmother. Thank you so much for being here today. God bless you all.
Can you believe her? Can you believe the kind of spirit she brings to a place? Ladies, please welcome the president of Omaha Liberty Ladies, Mary Jane Trumper.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be here among other moms. It's just a delight. And I have the great honor of introducing the next speaker. She's a wife, mother, and grandmother, and she's so fiercely protected her family that she's earned the nickname Mama Grizzly. She loves God wholeheartedly. She loves her country unabashedly. And she's one of the biggest defenders and most courageous defenders of liberty that I know. Please join me in welcoming the former governor of Alaska, Mrs. Sarah Palin.
Thank you so much. It's good to be among friends. Thank you. You look beautiful. It's so good to be here in Nebraska, truly in the heartland, and this is the good life. I had the privilege the other night of, or last night, my daughter Willow and I, she came with me, and we went to a grocery store, and probably the prettiest grocery store I've ever seen, all decked out in Nebraska red. It was, even the food displays, it was all about football. I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a great sense of community. And I told Willow too, I said, you know, you're gonna meet some great women here, women who get it about family and faith and freedom, and it's just really, really wonderful to know that we're not alone in the battles that so many of us are fighting today. And I told Willow, I said, but honey, it's really important that in an event like this or afterwards that we don't diminish men. Because we know the scripture and we know God created man first, and then he had a better idea. Ladies and gentlemen, it is such an honor to get to be here with so many women and a couple of men who understand the importance of keeping family first and God in the center of that. So a couple of the men who are here, I'm just like, oh, bless their hearts, you know. Met a couple of them in the photo line, and one, Robert, is married to one of the organizers of the group. And I said, Robert, good for you. You're here with all these women, you know. Is it inspiring to you? And yeah, it's inspiring. And I said, well, you're proof then that, you know, you and your wife, behind every successful and inspired man stands a surprised woman. And Robert and all of the folks who put this together, the sponsors, really need to be thanked because they've been quite sacrificial in doing their part to make sure that this all came together. Willow was reading off to me a list of the sponsors, and she thought she was so funny. She said, ha ha, Mom, one of these groups, they'd exclude you. It's called the Association of Mature American Citizens. And she insinuated I was immature. So when she said I was immature, I told her, then get out of my fort. Because she said it at home. Well, we have traveled around this country, my family and I, many times into some great nations and met important people with maybe really big fancy titles and fancy offices, but none impress or impact more than you who are America's moms. None. You're the center of family, which is the center of community, and that's the center of our blessed nation. And you know, you're proof that it takes a mom to raise a village. You're in a tough battle for kids' future, though, and I want you to, at an event like this especially, to be able to look around and realize, though, that you're not alone. That's the most important thing, I think, is to not feel alone in this drive that you have, this desire for patriotism to shine again and to do all that we can to allow America to be that exceptional nation again. Some days you may feel alone against elements in a brutal culture war and in political battles that we're in. Just watching the news, all the tumult and turmoil and corruption and intimidation. Maybe you're not convinced that your efforts in the fight to keep America's foundation, the home, to keep it strong and to keep it together, maybe you don't feel like your efforts are worth it until you realize, again, especially at something like this, you realize that our unity is the fuel to charge ahead and make the difference that this world needs, to be the salt and the light that we're commanded to be, to not be afraid of getting outside of the four walls and stop preaching to the choir, but actually get out there, even in pop culture. Pop culture is more influential than anything else, really, in our nation today. Politics and everything else is downstream from pop culture. My family and I, we've kind of been criticized sometimes for some of the venues that we participated in. Oh, they've done a reality show. Oh, their daughter was on Dancing with the Stars. And I'm like, no, we want to get in there and infiltrate and influence pop culture. That's what makes the difference. When my daughter Bristol was on Dancing with the Stars, she was so cute. She said, Mom, Dancing with the Stars called, and I don't know if he'd ever even watched the show, and they want me to, I said, wow, what did you tell them? And she said, well, I'm not a star and I can't dance, so sure, I'll go do that. So she loaded up her truck and she moved to Beverly Hills. She did, literally drove her truck from Alaska, and she did great. She got into the finals, and yeah, and the reason that they picked her, because they liked to mock her because she was an unwed teenage mom, like she was the only one in the whole country, and coming from a conservative family, well, that was, just worst thing ever, where they were celebrating other young gals who, were in less than ideal situations. And what Bristol was able to do, because she's a good, strong young woman, and Bristol was able to literally turn mourning into dancing. And I told her, I said, man, what they're gonna, the critics, how rough it's gonna be, so just heads up. And she says, that's the point. The critics are gonna criticize. The haters are gonna hate, so I might as well dance. And that's a good life lesson for me. I have to remember that all the time. So some days you may feel alone in this. Let me share a story about, you want to feel alone? Okay. I was on the vice presidential trail. It was the night of a debate with Joe Biden and getting ready to get out there on stage. And there were like 44 million viewers that night. And I'm looking around the green room and backstage for somebody to pray with before I go out there. You know, who wouldn't? You know, 44 million people, they're watching, tuning in to see me trip up and fall and whatever. So I'm looking around and there's no one from the campaign who wanted to pray. No. And I find Piper, at the time, 7 years old, in the corner. I said, Piper, come here, honey. Got to pray together, you know. We're two hearts are together. Yeah. I'm like, pray. I wanted to make it simple. I said, pray that Mom does well. Pray that I win. I said, Piper, pray that God just speaks right through me. She looks up, she goes, God speaking through you? Mom, that'd be cheating. I cheat a lot because that's where I go all the time. The best day of my life was the day that I became a mom. No better job in the world, none more exciting, none more important, certainly none tougher. Mothers, biological or mothers in spirit, get to be the guardians and the protectors of the American legacy, exercising our innate desire to nurture and to grow love in a family. It strengthens and it unifies a nation. And you know that united is the only way that we will stand. Women of America can and must unite in order to save a nation. Only mothers give birth to the future. You are the givers of life and are the great antidote to any voice of death that seeks to snuff out the quiet voice of the sustainers of selfless love. You can love the unwanted, the less than perfect, the broken, the hurting, and that's what America needs more of. Because it is a war out there for our children's future and for their opportunities for good jobs and safe schools and a respected constitution that protects their God-given inalienable rights, their rights to freedom of speech and to worship freely and to assemble and for equal opportunity and their right to protect their families by bearing arms. It is that being what it takes to create the most exceptional nation, knowing what is at stake. It's not just these political battles and who's going to be in what position. This is big, this is huge. There's nothing bigger than our children's future to be concerned about. But in this battle, knowing that it is so tough, you have to realize that, yeah, it's tough. You're naive to assume that the battles in your own spheres of influence are going to be easy. Just don't waste your breath complaining about how hard it is. I've found that, you want to share your troubles with someone? Well, 50% of the people you share your troubles with, they don't care. The other 50% you share your troubles with, they're glad you have them. So it's a good thing you have God. I always wonder, how do people do this? How are they ever on a stage or in politics? Man, it's a brutal world. How do you do it without God? I don't know how they do it. Some of them who, dismiss God. I'm like, man, they say, oh, Sarah, you got a crutch, your religion. I'm like, it's my crutch. It sure is. Thank God. Thank you, God, that you are willing to be our crutch. He's my crutch. Some days you think maybe of, I do anyway, those early days of motherhood with maybe kind of a longing. Though, remember being so tired with those 3 a.m. feedings and all the diapers, and back when it took more time to load up everybody in the truck than to actually run the errand you were going to go do, and knowing that your hourglass figure was adding hours with each kid that you were having. But kind of with melancholy still, though, recalling those days that seemed so long, and then looking back, though, realizing that, yeah, the days were long, but the time so short. So for me, you know, there are days that I think about that, and maybe I go for a long run, and I'm just praying, meditating, just humming along, and this is after snuggling kids. Good day. And then, you know, there are other days that I'm hollering at those same kids, usually to get off their phone, eating raw cookie dough over the sink. You know, it's all about the average, but knowing that it's tough, but the rewards are so worth it. The rewards are so worth it. Knowing that it's not easy saves you a lot of time too, in just assuming that, you know, anybody's going to hand you anything or anybody's going to open a door for you. You got to seek out those opportunities to be in the battle when God has an open door for you. Don't hesitate. You know, jump on in there. Time is short. Time is very short. It's very important that every one of us does our job in our own sphere of influence, and don't just leave it to, say, politicians to do it for you. They'll disappoint you. We need to fight for the time-tested truths that secure the blessings of liberty, and with divine providence, really go all in for the cause of family and faith and freedom. And that's why this, to me, is so inspiring, to be with so many women who get it and are saying, you know, enough is enough in this culture war of us kind of feeling like we lose too often. Well, we need to rise up, all Mama Grizzlies rise up to protect the future of our children. I'll keep saying that there is nothing more important. We're only going to make it as the exceptional nation, though, that beacon on a hill. And we're only going to be able to be that light that other nations would be able to look at and do a lot of the things that they could emulate to become greater nations. We can only do that if we counter culture and serve something greater than self. And if we raise our children to know to serve something greater than self and to teach them resiliency, you have to be the example, though, of that resiliency. Thomas Paine said, "If there be trouble, let it be in my day, that my child may have peace." If you share that, you know then in order to have peace, it's not free. It's like freedom isn't free. We have to pay the price. And if we're willing to do that, then I would ask all of you to rise up, literally rise up in your homes, in your communities, in your states, in our nation together. Women finally united to take this country back. Women united to say, no, we know what our foundation is, and as much as culture wants us to stray from that, our foundation is family, faith in God, and freedom, the freedom that God has allowed us. If you know that, then you must do your part, and I implore you to do so. And I thank you so much for having the heart and the soul, the willingness to be out there and be the happy warriors that this country needs. God bless you. Thank you so much for participating in such a great event. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I have loved her forever. I just got a hug. I got a mama hug from the mama bear. She's better in person than she is on television. It's amazing. All right, so you can feel it in the room. You can feel it in the room. I'm sure you can feel it watching at home. But this is not just a march for today. This is an exciting moment in time, you know, coming together. But it doesn't end today. It keeps going. This is just the beginning of a movement of moms uniting together. So what I need you to do now is something that we tell our children they are never allowed to do. That's get out your mobile device. You have my permission. Here's your 15 minutes where you get to play on it. You were good. You behaved well today. You get your 15 minutes. Grab out your phone and text moms to 53445. When you do that, you will have the ability to give of your heart. Dig deep down into your hearts and deeper down into your pockets and text the word MOMS to 53445. For those of you who went to public school, I'll spell it, M-O-M-S, MOMS. That will give you the ability to donate to the march and help us keep this going from now and into the future. So Jess and I just met backstage, and she is an amazing young woman. Is a mom waving at her? Did I just see a mom waving at her? Which is what we moms do, right? I see you, honey. I see you. When Jess heard about the Moms March, she was so inspired as a young woman that she wrote a song especially for this occasion. Very excited to have her with us today. Come on, mamas, let's welcome Jess Angelique.
Hey guys, my name is Jess Angelique, but to start off, I'm going to be doing an original song called Defined to Be Different. I know that people may put you down and may tell you have to be a certain way, but just realize that you are defined to be different because that's who God made us to be, is to be different. So even when people think they're all that and they put you down, just realize it doesn't matter what they say. So I hope you guys enjoy this song. They tell you how to rock your style. They tell you how to make the perfect smile. They tell you how to beat your drum, how to do everything. They tell you how to be legit. They tell you who to hang with. They tell you faith is just a myth. They tell you say be like us, we know what's best. Be like us, be like the rest. They keep on parading around, throwing shade, hitting the town. They think they're all that by putting you down. It don't matter what they say, we gonna be different. More than another face in the crowd. Nothing to lose, nothing but doubt. Gonna prove them wrong. We're gonna be different. Defined to be different. Defined to be different. We are original, original. We are called original, original. We are originals, original. We are called originals, original. They keep on parading around, throwing shade, hitting the town. They think they're all there by putting you down. It don't matter what they say, we gonna be different. More than another face in the crowd. Nothing to lose, nothing but doubt. Gonna prove them wrong, we gonna be different. Defined to be different, defined to be different. We are originals, originals. We are called originals, defined to be different. Thank you, guys. So I just want to tell you that I actually have a merch table out back, and I have an album that's called Won't Be Defined, but the song that you just heard, I'm actually working on an EP because we're doing a ministry. But besides that, I wrote this song for this event, and it's called Clarion Call. And I don't know if you guys know what that means, but that means a call to action. So I hope that you guys at this event will just have a call to action in your homes and wherever you guys are. Okay. This is our time. This is our march. We're the sons and daughters of our Heavenly Father. No, we won't be silenced. His God will move through us and give strength to guide us. We're the moms of the next generation. We have the bought through every nation. This is a clarion call, alone and small, but together we are tall. United we stand, divided we fall. Moms together stand tall. This is a clarion call. Moms together stand tall. This is a clarion call. Foundation is found through the family. Families come together through the stormy weather. We're the moms of the next generation. We have the bond through every nation. This is a clarion call, alone and small, but together we are tall. United we stand, divided we fall. Moms together stand tall. This is a clarion call. Moms together stand tall. This is a clarion call. Moms together stand tall. This is a clarion call.
Thanks so much, Jess. That was amazing. Some days as I'm driving down my road, I just feel like I can't do it anymore. I'm too tired, I'm too worn out. And when I am worn out, when I just think that I can't go on, there is one place that I go because I know I will be inspired to go a little further, and that's to the Activist Mommy website. Elizabeth Johnston spends her time making sure we know what the current events are, what the issues are we should be paying attention to. Please welcome Activist Mommy, Elizabeth Johnston.
Hello, sisterhood. It's so amazing to see all of you beautiful women here and not one vagina hat in the room. Praise be to God. My husband and 10 children send their greetings from Ohio and wish they could be here. Yes, you heard that right. I have 10 children. Amen. My oldest is 19, and my youngest is 1 year old. And they are by far my greatest accomplishment in life, and the reason I am so active in the culture war. It's an honor to be with you women today, a group of women who love your families and your country, and you're deeply concerned about the moral plunge toward darkness and perversion that our nation has taken in recent years. One of the wisest men who ever lived said, "Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to a people." Can I get an amen? Now, the left hates this idea of our nation being exalted, the concept of American exceptionalism. But last time I checked, and regardless of how you voted, We are forced to admit that the American people spoke loudly last November that they no longer wanted America to be reproached, but wanted to make America what? That's right. But we have a problem that a president cannot fix. In order for America to be great again, America must be good again. Remember, it's righteousness that exalts a nation, not just good public policy, it's righteousness. And for our nation to be good again, we, the mothers of the nation, who rock America's cradles and pray over America's children, we must be salt and light again. Salt and light. I find it interesting that these two terms, salty and lit, are all the rage in contemporary culture right now. If any of you have teenagers, you've heard the term salty and lit 1,000 more times than you wish you had. If teenagers think something's cool, they say, that's lit. And if someone's upset about something, they say, why so salty? You know, why so upset? Turn to your neighbor and say, girl, why so salty? Now, some of you follow the activist mommy, but some of you have no idea who I am. And let me tell you, the activist mommy is known for being a bit salty about the agenda to destroy the moral fabric of our nation and pervert the minds of our children. That's why I filmed myself burning a copy of Teen Vogue magazine for pandering obscenity to minors and teaching our daughters how to be sodomized. Outrageous. Some are critical of me for my saltiness and think that I'm not loving enough. But just as saltiness is required at times for food to be preserved, saltiness is required for our nation to be preserved. Amen. Now, back in January, there was a women's march, as you all know, the day after the presidential inauguration. And these women wanted to be called nasty women. Yes. Now, since we in this room do not identify with those nasty women, I want to coin a new term today. We are salty women. I'm seeing t-shirts and bumper stickers in the making. How about you? Let me ask you a question. If we were really being salty women the last decade, as we should be, would Teen Vogue be teaching our daughters how to be sodomized? No. Would drag queens be reading stories to our children in public libraries? Would our daughters be forced to share a locker room with boys? Would 3,000 babies be murdered every day through abortion? No. We have feared man more than we have feared God. We have kept our salt in its shaker, and now we are paying a hefty price. This nation is stinking with rottenness because we, the salt, have lost our saltiness. Let's face it, we all want to be liked, don't we? Who doesn't? It's hard to take a stand and not be liked. But if we lose our saltiness, Jesus said, we will be trampled underfoot by men. Are you tired of your values being trampled? What is the solution? We must get out of the salt shaker. We must get out of our homes, as you've done today, and the four walls of the church, and impact our culture. We must raise our children, not the culture raise our children, not the public schools, not technology raising our children. That's why my husband and I homeschool, and why we take our kids everywhere with us to watch mom and dad engage in the culture war. This is the answer. We must be willing to sting the wounds of our culture with the application of God's salty message. That means you're not always going to be popular. But listen, salt doesn't sting when you place it on healthy flesh, does it? Salt stings when there is an open wound. Our nation suffers from a sickness called sin, And God wants to use us moms to bring healing. May a movement of salty women shake off the fear of man and arise to the great task of preserving our nation and rescuing future generations. Thank you, and God bless you.
See why I go to her website? It's just amazing. So much to learn. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm driving down the road in my vehicle, I've noticed that there's only one driver's seat. There are not many driver's seats. Regardless of what Hillary Clinton told you, many people cannot pile into the car with you and help you drive your children on the journey. Our next guest is Dr. Rosemary Stein. She understands very well that there is one driver's seat and that the person in that driver's seat is a mom. She's the author of Who Needs a Village? It's a Mom Thing. Welcome, Dr. Rosemary Stein.
Hi, y'all. I'm from North Carolina, pero también soy hispana, Latina. So if we have, obviously, some Latinas and Latinos in the audience, we're all here, we're all as Americans trying to get our country back in shape, turn our country back around. And you can be a pediatrician or a lawyer or a politician or somebody who the rest of the world sees as important, but there's no job more important, more integral to the future of our country than the job of a mom. I know this because my husband and I have a practice in North Carolina. We've owned this practice for almost 20 years, and I've been a pediatrician for close to 25 years. And I have seen the state of our children not do well. And I set out on a journey to figure out why. And when I did this, I realized that it wasn't immunizations, it wasn't fluoride, it wasn't even as much of the environment as you and I have been led to believe. It wasn't lack of money. It wasn't even necessarily our public education system that is truly failing us. It was the fact that moms have been unempowered. We have not remembered that as the moms, we are the true nucleus of society. That when we empower each other and understand that our children and our families were given to us uniquely to be able to raise and to be able to strengthen, to become strong, and to become adults that are going to be good moms and dads, good wives and husbands, then America will do well again. And so I set out on a path to start to, one by one, strengthen moms and show them that and have them build their children once again. And it made a huge difference in my practice. Do you not want immunizations? Well, let me show you why they may be good and why they might not be so good for your child. You read up on it. You make the logical choice for your child. Do you think that your child needs speech therapy because he's not able to talk? Well, have the speech therapist talk to you about it so that you will become empowered and you understand how to teach your child. So it made the difference between a child who is autistic, who has ADHD, who is dyslexic, and a child who is successful, because that condition does not define that child. These small medical conditions should be used as a challenge to your child to help the child succeed. And it is when that mom understands that what we perceive to be a weakness is our child's strength, and the mom gives up of herself for the future of that child, and that child does enormously well. I can think of one mom that I'll share with you. She brought her child, Deshaun, into the practice about 3 or 4 years ago. And he was in 4th grade, and he would have constant meltdowns. She had to stop everything that she was doing, and she had this terrible medical condition, and she had to be hospitalized all the time. And I gave her this message, and I say, you see Deshaun as a weak boy and as a boy that has problems. I see him as a boy with hope. Let's strengthen you first. Today, Deshaun is in 8th grade. He is the captain of his football team. He is a A-B student with looks to going to college, and Mom is a warrior. She will not let anybody get in the way of her and Deshaun's success. That is the power of the mom. I'll leave you with 2 lines. It's not the village that raises your child. It's a mom thing. And in that, if there is a village, you, each one of you, moms, you're the mayor. Second line is my motto. To save America, we must save one child at a time. Thank you.
All right, mamas, please welcome the Executive Director of the Nebraska Family Alliance, a warrior for life, family, and freedom, Karen Bowling.
Well, I hope you are as encouraged as I am today. There's mom power in this room. And I'm here for the lady that maybe thinks that a mom can't make a difference. Abraham Lincoln, at the end of his life, told his mother who was ill, everything that I hoped to be and everything that I am is because of my angel mother. You know, we often feel like, I can't make a difference. But it was in the summer of 1999, I found myself unexpectedly becoming a single mother with 2 teenage boys, 16 and 19. I fell into a deep, deep depression, but then God showed up. God showed up. And in those turbulent days, I did a U-turn in life. And I want to tell you, ladies, tonight, there is no one that knows your kids or your grandkids better than you. No one. And so in the quietness of the night, in the stillness of the night, when I tried to figure out how can I just get up, God showed up. And he said, if you will lean into me out of the heartbreak of your adversity, I will put courage in you. And you know what he did? I got up, I sold a business, and I decided I would invest the rest of my life in championing our children in family, freedom, and life. You may feel that you're not qualified, but I'm here to tell you today, my education and what I'm doing today, that was not my training. But God knows and God sees. And if you will unite with other mothers, I believe this is our time. This is our season. We have a window in our nation to change the trajectory of our nation. We're not alone. In Judges 5, I like to call her my Shiro. It's Deborah. Anybody familiar with Deborah? Yes, amen. Well, Deborah heard that clarion call. And in Judges 5, the voice of the Lord spoke to her. Why? Because she looked around and she saw that village life had ceased. The highways and the byways were dangerous to be on. And she humbled herself before God and said, until I, Deborah, arose. You know, God used one woman to change the trajectory for the next 40 years in Israel. There's one other woman that I want to share with you. She's a modern day hero. One of the causes that are dear to my heart is the life issue. We live in a nation that has throwaway kids. We live in a nation that says actually we can terminate the life of our children. Last night, I went on the abortion clock to see what the status was for yesterday. And at 11:37 p.m. last night, 2,597 of our babies were taken. This morning at 7:32, already 800 were taken. But I believe we are in a moment where God is showing up. The clarion call is going forth. Be a champion. Wherever God has placed you, be a champion. And there's kind of three simple things, the beat that I march to now. I like to call it the 3 C's. A mother's compassion, joined with the character of God and fueled by his courage, can change a nation. We can do it, ladies. This is our time. This is our season. Age doesn't matter. Don't say I'm too old. No, you're just ready for battle. Be a happy warrior. So as I close, I want to leave one challenge to you. The next generation is depending upon our faithfulness today. Will you answer the call? And let God empower you with courage, and let's go change America. God bless you.
We have a slight interruption in the program because I need to come out here and make an announcement. We have just been told that thousands of people are trying to get on our live stream, and they're not able because the devil is at work. Do you know in the beginning of the video when it said, if I were the devil and I wanted to destroy freedom and everything God created? You know the scariest thing to the media, to those who would destroy our country or devalue families, is to have a bunch of mamas united together for good. They're scared to death of us. So I want you to know, hang in there with us. We do have Salem broadcasting. The Answer Omaha is right on the website. You can link on that and you can hear it. We've got Facebook Live. You can get on there. Maybe Facebook won't shut us down. And we are working on getting the internet up. So hang with us. I know there's thousands of you out there. And we have to our friends in London and Switzerland, God bless you for joining us.
Julia and her little sister Ava lost their dad, Captain Rob Yeskus, in 2008 while he was serving in Afghanistan. Mamas, please welcome Julia and Ava Yeskus singing "This Is Still the Land of the Free."
Still a land where freedom rings in hearts of people young and old. Life and liberty and happiness protected by the strong and bold. Through the years you have looked over us to keep our golden land secured. Gave your lives for such a worthy cause. Let freedom reign forevermore. This is still the land of the free, because you care so unselfishly. Your sacrifice means all to me, 'cause this is still the land of the free. The flame still burns inside of each of us. Our hearts beat red, white, and blue. We will carry on the torch of hope, a beacon proudly shining through. When I see the stars and stripes unfurled, the torch of Lady Liberty, I am thankful for America and those who keep her safe for me. This is still the land of the free, because you gave so unselfishly. Your sacrifice means all to me, 'cause this is still the land of the free. This is still the land of the free, because you gave so unselfishly. Your sacrifice means all to me, 'cause this is still the land of the free. Your sacrifice means all to me, 'cause this is still the land of the free. 'Cause this is still the land of the free.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, we are in good hands. Our next mama not only keeps her car full, but with her own children, but she fills it up with the children of mothers who are no longer here. Please welcome Marvina Case.
Hello, everyone. I'm a modern day mother. I bring home the nitrate, hormone, gluten-free, fat-free, humanely raise kosher organic turkey and sometimes vegan bacon. I fry, broil, roast, pressure cook, and occasionally when no one is looking, microwave it. And I don't let my husband forget that he's a man by reminding him to take out the trash in between math problems, book reports, and social emergencies of our 6, 8, and 16-year-old girls. Yes, a woman can have it all and all to do, and I do. I am proud of my many accomplishments, and they are impressive, especially when written out. I'm like, wow, that's me. I'm an entrepreneur, author, philanthropist, wife, and mother, homemaker. Which one of those titles is most important? Which one keeps me up at night and is the push I need to get up at 4:30 every morning? It's not my businesses, it's not my writings, it's my children. They are our greatest masterpiece. Our children are our gift to this world, and when they grow up, they will decide the rules for the next generation. Preparing them is a mother's first priority. They are our legacy. Sisters, mothers, we are at war. I'm not talking about war with Russia, Syria, North Korea, China, or Afghanistan. We are at war with ourselves. Women against other women, women against men, women against our very own children. We are at war and our very survival is at stake. If you define yourself by your power to take a life, then you have nothing. To dominate, your desire to possess, then you have nothing, and you are nothing, as if the purest form of life does not matter, you do not matter. Everything and everyone becomes expendable. It's no secret American values are changing, and not evolving, but experiencing true de-evolution. Motherhood is being attacked by those of us who are sworn to protect it. Mothers, American mothers, have been infected, and they are indeed becoming cannibalistic, much like the popular TV show, The Walking Dead. We've turned. We turned our backs on motherhood, we turned our backs on responsibility, we turned our backs on accountability, femininity, love, and sadly, each other. Boundaries and expectations were not properly set, and we are living with those results. Mothers wanted to be BFFs, and a war zone of entitlement, safe spaces, and hedonism plagues us now. Mothers, I'm one mean mother. I am. I'm not my children's friend. I don't need to be liked. I need to be obeyed, respected, responsible, resounding in leading by example. I need to teach, I need to strengthen, I need to develop, I need to create a better version of me. I don't even need to be loved right now. I will wait for that reward. Every action has a reaction, and the consequences that follow are shaped by every move and decision made. With choice comes responsibility. Our job is to shelter, shield, and guide so our children can think, learn, and grow. Being a mother is an honor that every female does not get, and in that honor lies responsibility to our children's father, our children, and to society. Women, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. That is power, ultimate power. Frederick Douglass said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Remember, mothers raise little boys who become men, and we raise little girls who become women who will raise more men. We were not created to be equal to man, but to do all the things that a man cannot do. We are man's partner and confidant. We must stand up and knock the forbidden fruits of victimization and entitlement out of his hands when they are small, and cut the head of the Sodom and Gomorrah serpent that has risen off. Thank you.
Our next Mama's vehicle is filled with books and stories and hope. Marlene is the founder and president of Libraries of Hope. If you haven't gone there, this is a must. This is a must website. I sent a friend there the other day. She was like, I am geeking out at this website. I cannot, I'm supposed to be making dinner for my kids. Oh dear, now she's a bad mom. But she could not tear herself away from this website. Marlene has dedicated herself to educating the heart and keeping a culture of faith, family, and freedom alive. Welcome, Marlene Peterson.
The banquet hall was filled to overflowing. All eyes watched in eager anticipation for the arrival of their two honored guests. First, a fine, good-looking man entered. He was their newly elected mayor. He was followed by a little white-haired lady who had gifted the town with their library, their college, and their playground. Dinner was served, the tables cleared, and then the mayor rose to speak. I believe that every man is master of his own fate. I believe in being a self-made man, and while I am serving as your mayor, I will do all in my power to ensure every young person in this town is given every opportunity for a good education and a fine career. One can make of himself what he will with enough courage and determination. I am here to serve you all. He returned to his seat amidst thunderous applause. Not once during the address had the eyes of the little white-haired lady been taken from the speaker. She seemed to be studying him rather than his address. She was so deep in thought she almost missed her introduction as the next speaker. She made her way to the podium and began. Years ago in this very town, there lived a teacher of 10 bright, happy girls. She loved them dearly, but sadly had to move far away. She was going to miss those girls, so she asked each of them to write her a letter and share their fondest wishes and dreams. Jenny wanted to be a great singer. She wanted to go to New York and study opera. Catherine wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. Mary wanted to be a lawyer, a criminal lawyer. Louise wanted to be a nurse. The teacher smiled with deep satisfaction for all the good her girls would do in the world. Then, turning to the mayor of the city, the little white-haired lady said, "Sir, I believe the contents of that last letter will interest you more than the rest. I was the teacher of those girls, so I can give you the exact wording. Dear friend, you have asked us to give you our dearest wish. I have many wishes for the future, but the wish I want most of all is to be a fine and noble woman, and one day to be the kind of mother you have told us so much about. The girl who wrote that letter, sir, became your mother. 14 years before you were born, your character was being formed, your ideals were being molded, your future was being safeguarded. I congratulate you, sir, on being elected to the office of mayor, but I congratulate you more for being the child of my little girl of the long ago who at 16 could write, I want most of all to be a fine woman and someday to be a noble mother. To her you owe much. Inspire the girls of your town if you plan for great men. A self-made man needs a noble mother to build the foundation of his character. There is no other way. The speaker sat down, and there was silence in the banquet hall. For hundreds of years, kings and commoners made pilgrimages to the Oracle of Delphi in ancient Greece for guidance, wisdom, comfort, and strength that came through the voice of a woman. It was the voice of two women, Cleartus and Myrna, two renowned singers who sang songs into the heart of a young poet, Pindar, who in turn awakened a love of beauty in the hearts of the Greeks through his poetry and ushered in a golden age. It was the prayerful, tear-filled voice of Monica that turned a wayward son, Augustine, into a saint who later wrote, "It is to my mother that I owe everything. If I am thy child, O God, it is because thou gavest me such a mother. If I prefer the truth to all other things, it is the point of my mother's teachings. If I did not long ago perish in sin and misery, it is because of the long and faithful tears with which she pleaded for me." It was the pleading voice of Mary Washington and a son's respect for his mother that kept a young George from going to sea, thereby changing the course of a nation. Who can measure the influence of a mother? You young mothers are the guardians of the world's most important natural resource, the hearts of children. Hearts matter, for as Luke the physician wrote, "A good man out of the good treasures of his heart bringeth forth that which is good." Everything man creates in the world is but an outward expression of what is treasured in his heart. The child who was brought up to love the good, the true, and the beautiful will grow up to create a world that is good and true and beautiful. The heart forms before the brain within the womb, and emotions develop before the intellect outside the womb. When a child's heart is most open and impressionable, you are there. As you hold your newborn baby close to your heart, your skin is soft and warm. Your voice is sweet and melodic. The lullabies you quietly hum bring a sense of calm and order to the chaotic world he has suddenly entered. You provide the nourishment that satisfies the gnawing hunger in his belly. Cradled in your arms, your baby feels safe. Long before he understands words, long-lasting impressions are being made deep in his heart that reassure him, "I matter, I belong, I am loved." The bond between a mother and a child is strong and powerful. There is nothing else like it. It is because of your closeness to a child's heart that your influence and impact is so great. If you don't like what you see going on in the world, the truth is you are the one who can change it, for all true change must take place in individual hearts, and the heart work is divinely gifted to mothers. For far too long, you've been made to feel that the work done in your home is beneath you, that there are more productive ways for you to spend your time. That is a lie. Over 100 years ago, Herbert Spencer imagined someone from the future trying to piece together who we were from our school books. He wrote, "I see here an elaborate preparation for many things, but I find no reference whatever to the bringing up of children. They could not have been so absurd as to omit all training for this gravest of responsibilities. But we have been so absurd. We are still not only neglecting the preparation, we are demeaning and devaluing the very worth of a mother. Do we not realize the government and agencies can spend far less on ambulances at the base of the cliff if we will support, prepare, and allow you, our mothers, to build the guardrail at the top? Let us correct the course going forward, for as a wise man asks of us, when the real history of mankind is fully disclosed, will it feature the echoes of gunfire or the shaping sound of lullabies? The great armistices made by military men or the peacemaking of women in homes and in neighborhoods? Will what happened in cradles and kitchens prove to be more controlling than what happened in Congresses? We answer with a resounding yes, for we know that the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the nations. Priceless is the influence of a mother. Thank you.
All right, we have a special treat now, a mom and daughter who are going to sing together. Is there anything better in the whole world than serving and having your daughter stand and serve right next to you? That's just the best. I know. See, it's worth a round of applause. Yes. Daughters serving with their moms. I've gotten to know these two women over the past couple days, and even though they are powerhouses, they completely embody the theme of the song they're about to sing, Humble and Kind. Welcome, Mom and Mom in Training, Debbie and Haley Corlitis.
Thank you. So this is for all the mamas out there, because one of our greatest jobs is mentoring our children, right? And teaching them the most important things that God places in our hearts. So I'm trying not to get emotional, but I'm excited to be here because we're all so important to our kids. You know there's a light that glows by the front door. Don't forget the keys under the mat. Childhood stars shine, always stay humble and kind. Go to church, 'cause the Bible says to. Visit Grandpa every chance that you can. It won't be wasted time. Always stay humble and kind.
Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you've got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When those dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind.
Don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip, and here's why. Bitterness keeps you from flying. Always stay humble and kind. Know the difference between dancing with someone and dancing with someone you love. I love you ain't no pickup line. Always stay humble and kind.
Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you've got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When those dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind.
When it's hot, eat a root beer popsicle. Shut off the AC and roll the windows down. Let that summer sunshine always stay humble and kind. Don't take for granted the love this life gives you. When you get where you're going, don't forget, turn back around. Help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind. God bless you, mamas. And the kids, stay humble and kind.
Oh, sweet mamas. All right, we have some very good news. A blessing has happened and the live stream is back up. So if you are listening and you have been trying to get on, hit refresh and you should be able to pick up the live stream again. See, God is watching over us, mamas. So there's one thing, one passenger you do not want along with you in your ride. At least I don't. And that's that terrible little voice. You know, the one in your head that is always telling you, you can't, you're not good enough. If that is ever happening to you on your ride, you need to get your hands on this book, Bully Proofing You. This book will teach you how to let no one push you around, especially yourself. Welcome, award-winning, best-selling author, Jeannie Cisco Meth.
Hello, Oma! You know what? When I got here, there was a sign when I walked off the airport that said, "We're happy to see you." Ha! That was incredible. Thank you for being here. And everybody else, I understand we're live streaming. Thank you for being here. I know that my shirt says I love my life, but it wasn't always so. When I was younger, I had a lot of issues. Oh my goodness, I could stand up here and go on forever about the issues that I had. Dyslexia, not only visual, but auditory dyslexia. Anybody ever watched Peanuts? And you hear when the adults talk, it's like, wah, wah, wah. Yeah, I got that going on. So because of that, I had a speech impediment, and guess what? Now I get paid to speak. Ain't that crazy? I could stand up here and tell you how I had to learn to tame the bully between my ears so my first book, Bully Proofing You, could become a bestseller. What, a bestseller? When they told me in elementary school, you won't make it through high school, you're too stupid. And I said, oh yeah, watch me. It was a perfect thing. At that time, it scared the crap out of me, and I thought, it ain't ever gonna happen. But then I decided, you don't decide, I decide. So I'm here today to help you tame the bully between your ears. I'm gonna give you a few tools. Does that sound good? Ah, wonderful, wonderful. You see, the first tool to taming the bully between your ears is who I am makes a difference. I have these ribbons up at my booth in 105. Please come by and get one for free. I used to give them to all my students. You see, I was a high school teacher for 17 years. And I worked at an alternative high for most of those years, and yeah, I was a crackhead teacher. Not just because of my last name either. I got a lot of energy. And I'm backstage, and I'm saying, I don't do that podium thing. I can't do it. And they said, that's okay, we'll get you a handheld. And I said, thank you much. Who I am makes a difference, and who you are makes a difference too. You decide whether it's positive or negative. Who I am makes a difference. Please come get your ribbon. Second of all is I love my life. You see, when I get up every morning, the first thing I say is, Lord, thank you for another day to become the person you see in me. Because, man, he sees me as the incredible daughter he created. I see me as, oh my gosh, I got all these flaws. But he sees me as an incredible daughter. But when I started saying I love my life, and then I started taking action to make it so, wow. You see, whatever mess you're currently in, because trust me, we all got messes, don't we? You created that mess. So guess what that means? You can create a whole new life. And it starts with, I love my life. You see, this t-shirt was designed by my daughter. The I and my life, that font is called Comforta, because we all need some comfort, do we not? The love is printed in precious, because every single one of you is precious. Then the color is brash bravery, because we all got to have some courage, do we not? And then the blue is dreamer blue, because my goodness, we can dream big dreams, yeah? But you got to have some bravery to go out there and make it happen. And then, y'all are in for a treat. You see, I started to learn how to celebrate, and y'all don't celebrate near enough. I'm telling you, because I didn't celebrate enough. Celebration, even the tiny little hummingbird steps. Because when I first started, when I transitioned from the classroom to the stage, in 2012, there weren't too many stages. And I would make a phone call and I'd say, hey, I got this incredible life-transforming community and this program that I want to bring to you. And they'd say, no thanks. I say, oh, man. And so I started learning how to celebrate. And at my house, we do the Snoopy dance. Because who said you had to dance on rhythm? I mean, you know, I'm sorry, I got all these arms and legs. I'm tall, I'm 6 foot tall. I'm not blown up, y'all may think I am, but I'm 6 foot tall. And you try to get all that stuff moving, and it doesn't always sync. So if some of you are afraid that, well, I can't dance, darling, we're gonna do the Snoopy dance. You guys seen Snoopy dance? Right, I can do that. And so what we instituted at my house was you'd come into the living room or the kitchen and you'd yell, Snoopy dance time. And we'd come running from the rest of the house and we would dance like maniacs. And then we'd say, what'd you do, what'd you do? I made another phone call. Damn straight, it's a hippy skippy day, let's do it. And then sometimes it involved money and then we gotta go out to dinner too. I like ice cream and chocolate, I'm just saying. So I'm going to invite you all to do the Snoopy dance with me. You've been sitting quite a while. It's time to get up out of your seats and Snoopy dance! We are here, we are celebrating, we are women, and we are proud. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous day.
For nearly 2 decades, former actress and pop culture icon Tina Marie Griffin has been touring the country, putting on a presentation called Exposing Hollywood. So I saw a little bit of this last night, and I'm just going to tell you, buckle up. Buckle up, Buttercup, because you are about to go on a wild ride with this one. She now has her own show, Hollywood Insider. Welcome, the counterculture mom, Tina Marie Griffin.
Just because Hollywood dishes out garbage to our children doesn't mean that we need to eat it. We have the power as parents to choose what enters our children's minds. And if we don't buy, they won't supply. I'm the counterculture mom, started out as a farm kid in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's where I heard that kid cheering for me. Green Bay Packers. Farm kid, milking cows, baling hay, picking rocks, saved at the age of 16, and I told God in church that day, I'm not going to be a bench warmer Christian. I'm willing to take a bullet for whatever you've called me to do. And I've had an amazing ride, and I want every single young person and older person in America today to enjoy the exact same ride. It's a pleasure and an honor to serve Christ. Amen? So I moved to Hollywood at the age of 20, gave my dad a heart attack while milking cows one night. He's like, you're doing what? I'm like, I gotta get to Hollywood. All these celebrities are putting drugs, sex, alcohol to all of our classmates, myself. I wanna get these people saved. So I headed out to Hollywood. For 10 years, I was immersed in film and TV. I worked for Disney, tons of different shows, Oscars, Miss America pageant, contestant, Film Society, Women in Film, all of it. And God created me to be an undercover FBI agent for such a time as this. Okay, top 2 things that I discovered while working in LA were, number 1, celebrities shelter their own kids from their own entertainment. I've talked to so many celebrities on set, I have to write a book. It's gonna happen this year. Number 2, I'll just use a fake name so they can't find me. Number 2, deadly consequences of the harmful behaviors that Hollywood promotes in entertainment are hardly ever revealed. They glamorize sex, drugs, alcohol, suicide, cutting, depression, all that kind of stuff, but they don't show the consequences. They glamorize it. So I had a choice to make that day when I was 24 living in LA. I could sit and do nothing, which was not in my blood. Thanks to my parents, Gerald and Kathy Holowinski. Love you guys. Or number 2, get up and expose the lies. And from that day forward, 24, sitting in my apartment in LA, God said Ephesians 5:11 over your life, Tina. Have nothing to do with the foolish deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. That's what I did. I created the Hollywood Exposed show and have been delivering it around the globe for the last 14 years. As Sarah Palin earlier said today, she said, you know what, pop culture is one of the top reasons that our children are suffering today in our culture with depression, suicide, cutting, premarital sex, you name it. I completely agree because teachers in schools aren't teaching this to their kids. Parents aren't teaching it. Where's it coming from? Our pop culture. It's got to go. We got to pray for Hollywood, but that place just needs the Lord. Here's just a glimpse of what I witnessed firsthand while working in LA. I'm going to give you a couple slides of the program I usually do when I travel the country. I met people like Brittany Murphy right before she passed away on Little Black Book. She was also on 8 Mile, and I talked to her about a half an hour where the casting director had to say, Tina, okay, Brittany, let's break it up. We got a movie to shoot. But she told me, Tina, I don't agree with what I'm doing, but I feel like I have to do this in order to get ahead in the industry. And I realize that we have to be praying for celebrities today because they feel like if they aren't being told what to do or do what they're told, they won't work in Hollywood again. It's a ton of pressure on celebs. Pray for them. It was an eye-opener for me. And why do I like talking about media? Because of this. 75% of children 8 years old and younger have access to a smartphone or tablet. 71% of kids 8 to 18 have a TV in their bedroom. We have to address media if kids are getting an average of 40 hours of media in their head a week and they're in class for less than that time. Wow. So what came next? Robert Pittman, he totally opened my eyes as a young person when he made this comment. We're dealing with a culture of teenage babies. They can watch TV, do their homework, listen to music all at the same time. The strongest appeal you can make is emotional. If you can get their emotions going, make them forget their logic, you've got them. At MTV, we don't shoot for the 14-year-olds. We own them. And now he's in charge of iHeartRadio. He runs the industry, you guys. Marilyn Manson, I don't know if anyone has really understood what we're trying to do to lure people in. Once we got them, we can give them our message. What's that message? Here's Eminem. He's been one of the top rappers that millions of young impressionable minds have been listening to for the last 2 decades. Still has albums coming out, still does tours. In his lyrics, he said, I never knew how to affect this kid, get him to slit his wrist. He raps about the negative, harmful consequences that his own music has on his fans. Here's a short clip of what he thinks about us. That should have been a shorter clip, so I'll just, for the sake of time, I'll tell you what he says. I have the right to remain violent. Anything I do and say is against you. He could care less. I have the DVD, the 3-hour version, at my table for sale, dirt cheap, up at the top. If you guys want to grab that, take it home and show your teens. It's fantastic, eye-opener. This sign is the Pledge of Allegiance to Satan. When it's given over the eye, it represents the eye of Lucifer. That's 666 with their fingers. It's all over the place. In fact, I'm asked to speak globally on witchcraft and Satanism because it's promoted by so many celebrities today. And I get texts all the time and emails from young, impressionable fans. They're saying, Tina, guess what? I'm stopped listening to these rappers. Check out what's on their latest album. Check out what they're wearing on tour. Here's Madonna and son Rocco on the Ellen Show a couple years ago. The crowd was cheering when she said, oh, I don't let my son Rocco watch me half naked on stage dancing and singing about sex, drugs, and alcohol. And the crowd was going wild. I was thinking evidence that you're promoting that very message to our kids, and yet you're sheltering your own kids from that message. Total eye-opener, Madonna's just one of them. Great parent, but she's promoting the opposite message to the rest of America. Here's Insane Clown Posse, ICP. The lyrics focus on the great Malenko, an illusionist who tries to trick people into greed and other sins. A lot of mythology. A very huge underground band. And someone told me the other day, is that band even around? Yep, 20 years. In fact, they just kicked off their 20th anniversary tour this last week in Minneapolis. Very graphic, violent lyrics. Here's what he thinks about parents.
They're playing our CDs when you're not home. They're playing my tapes in your own car, in the tape. And I'm influencing your children.
I'm glad you're influenced by us. Do you do drugs? Go home and smoke something.
I'm influencing your children.
Listen, if you're ever going to commit a crime, you should do it now because you're still a minor.
And I'm influencing your children. And I'm influencing your children.
Go home, do drugs, you're still a minor, commit a crime. And they're still huge today, and parents are not aware of what they're actually promoting. So what did I do as a result? I created something called the Pop Culture Alert. There is hope. My husband and I put together a pop culture alert. If you text the word pop culture, no spaces, to 44222, you'll get a text from me personally once a week so you find out before your kids find out of the graphic, demonic, gruesome discovery before your kids make that gruesome discovery. You'll know what to watch out for ahead of time. Text the word pop culture, no spaces, to 44222. You'll get on the newsletter list. You'll get a ton of positive content that's up there. a positive guide that's in there as well. Here's the positive guide. A lot of great content for free in your inbox. There will be tons of positive role models you can click onto. Counterculturemom.com is the website. A lot of great blogs on there. Tons of positive magazines. I have them free at my table up here from Answers in Genesis as well. Music, there's a lot of positive music. I will ding your phone and let you know what that is and also get it in your newsletter. Great TV shows to choose from. I'll let you know what that is. And then also movies like A Question of Faith. If we put our dollars in what we believe and help support faith-based films, we will show the country what we want again and change a nation and change a culture. What talents did God give you to make a difference? Now's the time to stand. Let's do a pop culture purge in our home and keep our kids safe. I'll tell you briefly, I was attacked by a man with a knife 4 months ago that entered my home in broad daylight. 2 of my friends were with me, 8 young kids playing in the yard, 4 of them my own. And he demanded money, he waved a knife in my face, and I had a choice. When he told me to line the 8 kids that were there on the couch, I'm like, no, you're not. You have no place in my home. God is here, angels are surrounding the situation. I had 2 choices, fight or flee and hope the intruder did not catch me. What did I do? I fought. Now is the time in America to fight. Fight for our one nation under God. Fight for our communities who need Jesus, and fight for our children so they can become the counterculture warriors that Christ created them to be. Thank you so much. Let's go do this.
Sam Sorbo is an actress, a writer, a producer, and a homeschool advocate. And she is really a homeschool advocate. I loved listening to her. She met her husband, Kevin, on the set of Hercules, and they have been an influence for faith and family, which in a place like Hollywood is not that easy, ever since. Now, they just produced a movie together with Sean Hannity called Let There Be Light. I went online to watch the trailer. It was so good, I immediately hit refresh and watched it again. I cannot wait for this movie to come out. I can see why Sam co-wrote a movie called Let There Be Light. The second you meet her, you see how deep the light is shining in her. She lights up a room. Welcome, Sam Sorbo.
So when I was asked to come and speak here, I thought, what can I say that all of these fabulous speakers haven't already said or won't say before me or even after me? And they pretty much said it all. So what they said. And I thought, what I want to talk about today is choices. We live in an instant gratification, a glamour-seeking, money is everything, me culture. Sometimes the hardest choice for a woman is to choose to be a mother. I made that choice when my future husband lay clinging to life in an intensive care unit. Kevin Sorbo suffered 3 strokes while we were engaged. And I made that choice, away from my career, to devote myself to him because he was going to be the father of my children. I made that choice again when my little toddler, Octavia, before she turned 2, scolded me for being gone for 3 hours. I picked her up and she turned to the nanny and said, "Bye-bye." And I realized then that that was a choice. I made that choice when I decided to home educate my children, to keep them close, to show them love, dedication, commitment, and yes, how to learn. And those were powerful choices, all of which our culture discourages today. The culture tells us that the powerful option is to choose independence and career. It tries to dictate to women what our priorities should be. And I'm here to tell you it's wrong. Contrary to popular belief, you cannot have it all. Because every time you choose one thing, you're discriminating against another. There will be compromise, but I'm also here to give you the
the power to choose and understand that there is strength in compromise. Every compromise involves choice, but choice is power. We live in a free country with freedom to choose. This is very powerful. My choice to be a mom was the most important thing I've ever done, likely the most important thing I will ever do. Moms are the glue in our society. Dads are important too, by the way. They are very important to a family, and I do believe we face a fatherhood crisis in this nation, which is partly why I created this movie, Let There Be Light, to speak to the fathers out there. But my choice to homeschool my children was likely the most personally beneficial thing that I've ever done, and that's why I've become an advocate for it. I never would have discovered that I am a teacher. In fact, school taught me that I couldn't be one unless I had a piece of paper from someone more accomplished than me. I never would have done a radio show, nationally syndicated, 15 hours every week. I never would have done that if I hadn't chosen to home educate my children. I never would have written a book. My book, They're Your Kids, An Inspirational Journey from Self-Doubter to Homeschool Advocate. Never would have done that. I never realized how necessary I was until I chose to home educate my children. And they would never have learned how necessary they are if I hadn't made that choice. I never would have co-written and produced a movie. That never would have happened if I hadn't chosen to home educate. And part of the reason is because my children taught me. And I believe that God gives us our children to teach us. And that when we send our kids away to school, we are rejecting that gift. Serena Williams was just interviewed about becoming a mom. What was that like? What did it feel like? And she said, I'm about to be a real woman now, you know? And she was lambasted and attacked for making that comment. It provoked outrage with the feminists that she would consider herself a real woman now that she was giving birth. And yet, isn't that kind of hypocrisy? I mean, who are they to criticize how she defines the words real woman? Who are they to criticize how she feels? Aren't these the same people who gave Jenner the Woman of the Year award? She just said, we want that back. You can have it. These are the same folks who say you can have it all, but at the same time don't want to sacrifice anything. Sacrifice is everything. Nicolene Peck, I interviewed her yesterday, and I asked her, where does power come from? Where does your power come from? And her answer was, my power comes from God and my children. I find validation from my children, and they find validation from me. Being a mom means sacrifice. Does anybody argue that point? And yet, our culture tells us that that's the low road. That's not the big road. That's not the glamorous road. It's not the most powerful road. I disagree. I think it's glamorous. I think children are a great accessory. Mine are, anyway. Being a mom means sacrifice, but there is really great joy in sacrifice. Greater joy has the gift giver than the receiver. And so I just want to encourage you as moms and as dads, but specifically as moms. If you're not sacrificing for your children, you're missing out on the greatest gift. And as moms, we recognize that. And although the culture tells us that we're wrong, we know we're right. And so now all of you who know this, but I know you know this because you're here today, you need to go and share this message
with the moms out there who feel conflicted because they're told that they have to go back to work, and so they put their children in daycare, or they put their children in public schools where the children are taught that they are accidents of nature. How much value does an accident have? We don't value children in this culture anymore. We don't value moms. We don't value dads. Where are people supposed to find value? So I encourage you to share this news, that being a mom is the greatest gift, that having children is a great blessing. They are not a burden, as some people would like to call them. They are not a burden, they are a gift. And you have a tremendous gift in being a mother that can care for her children, and I bless you. I wish you great joy in that, and may God bless you in your endeavors with your kids. And I encourage you to homeschool, and if you're interested, I sell my books at the table. They're your kids. Thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
This has been so inspiring. I cannot wait until we can all get together next year. But, yes, you guys are so quick to applaud. I'm not used to this because men are usually sitting in the audience, you know, and they kind of sit back like they're in their big easy chair watching football. But you women, you're right on the ball. I love that. In order to make it happen next year, though, we are going to need to make sure we raise money. So if you have not had a chance to donate and you would like to do so, I'll remind you, text MOMS to 53445. That's MOMS to 53445. Imagine if the hundreds of us sitting here and the thousands tuning in all over America and in other countries, if everyone just donates $5, imagine what we can do by next year. All right, I'm so excited to have our featured musical guests back singing Old Glory Still Waves, Redhead Express.
This may be our darkest hour, and this may be the high price that we pay. But in our heavy hearts, we'll find the power and a light that shows us the way. And we will stand a little stronger. Pray a little longer for the home of the free and the brave. And even if the wind stops blowing, let the whole world know in our glory we'll still wave.
I have loved them before, but after hearing them today, I'm going to go out and buy their album and send it to my son who's serving a mission in Argentina. They are amazing. Love you guys. Donna Rice Hughes is an internet safety expert, an author, and an Emmy Award-winning producer, and the president of Enough is Enough. Her mission is to make the internet safe for families and children, and man, do we need that. Please welcome Donna Rice Hughes.
Thank you. Are you ladies inspired? Yes, I am. I am so honored to be with you here today and to follow some of these amazing, amazing women that I have admired. Moms, I know you've been here all day, but this is important, isn't it? As mothers, uniting together behind our shared commitment to children, family, and country, and standing against the forces that threaten these blessings, together we can resurrect hope, and we can move mountains, and we can change cultures. Amen? Since our founding, it has been the moms that have been the glue that have held families together, that have raised up the next generation, that have held up the arms of our husbands and our nation's leaders. It's been the moms that have been the prayer warriors with worn out knees. Any worn out knees out there? And we've been the ones that have asked God and pleaded with God to guide us and to bless America. We are standing on the shoulders of all the mothers who have gone before us and have left us this great legacy. And we must pass it on, and we will pass it on. As a stepmother and a grandmother of 3 young children, I stand before you today with both a burden and a beacon. But first, the burden. Sorry. Pope Francis, whom I and other leaders will have the opportunity to meet with in 2 weeks in Rome at the First World Congress on Child Dignity in the Digital Age, once said, and oh, by the way, we're going to be setting the global agenda to defend children on the internet. But he once said that a society can be seen by the way it treats its children. And ladies, we're in a sorry state right here in the United States of America. The United States, the sexual exploitation of children in our country is at an all-time high. This year, 1 in 10 kids will be sexually abused under the age of 18. 100,000 children in America are the victims of trafficking. The United States is the second largest in the world in hosting child pornography. I know, hard to believe, right? It's not over there, it's right here. America is the #1 producer, distributor, and exporter of hardcore illegal pornography that is not protected under our First Amendment. And the reason is because our current federal laws have not been aggressively enforced under certain past administrations. And currently, of the 4 million hardcore pornography sites that are being blocked right now in the United Kingdom, guess how many are coming from the United States? Not all. 2.5 million, but way too much. It's time to get our laws enforced. Now, as a result, children of all ages have free and easy access to extreme internet pornography. And I hate to say it, but 70%, an average of 70% of our teen boys and girls have been exposed to anal sex pornography. And we have to say, enough is enough. 1/3 of our youth are being cyberbullied. Is it any surprise that the suicide rate among teen girls has doubled in the past 10 years and has risen 30% among teen boys? Our nation is at a crossroads. Will we give up and give in? Thank you. Or will we fight back and say, enough is enough? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Now, I call on you now, mothers of America, to unite against these scourges that are corroding childhood, destroying families, and decaying our culture. But in our battle cry, we must not despair, because we have a beacon of hope. This is a spiritual war, and we must fight it on our knees, and at the same time become equipped to be the first line of defense to protect our children. So if you don't know how to do that, you can check out our Internet Safety Curriculum for Parents at enough.org. So let us all stand together and focus on what unites us and not on what divides us. Let us build bridges of reconciliation. Let us check our differences at the door, and let us take the high road. As mothers and grandmothers, when we unite together, civility and manners will return to our streets. The golden rule will be the new normal. Character will matter again. Virtue and modesty will replace vulgarity. Kindness will replace meanness and bullying. Yes, ma'am, and no, sir, will be the common rhetoric of our youth. And our children will once again be able to pray and say the Pledge of Allegiance in grade school, just like I did. And all of the federal laws to prevent the sexual exploitation of children online will be aggressively enforced, because guess what? Our current president signed Enough is Enough's Children's Internet Safety Presidential Pledge to make that happen. And I believe that the mission we started by women 24 years ago to make the internet safer for children and families will become a reality. Mothers of America, let's rise up. And I mean, time to stand up. To stand up. And let's pledge together in support of this cultural movement that started today that we will lead by example. And where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, let us be the first to forgive. And where there is doubt, let us hold up the banner of faith. And when there's despair, let us offer hope. And where there is darkness, let us shine a bright light. And where there is sadness, let us choose joy. For the sake of America, our children, thank you. God bless you.
Martha Bonetta is living her dream on the historic farm, Liberty Farm in Virginia. After environmentalists and the government overreach tried to take away her land, she became an advocate for property rights. She is truly courage in the face of power. Welcome, Martha Bonetta.
What a blessing to be with you all today. With so many great American moms and mothers, you know, we are not just building homes, we are building a great nation. With our love and our commitment to future generations, we are building hope, prosperity, and opportunity for generations to come. Now, how many of you have signed the Declaration of Mothers Pledge? If you've signed the pledge, raise your hand. Fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause. My dream is for moms all across our great nation to sign this pledge. And I have another dream too, and that's that we will have moms marches in every state across our great nation. Would you like to see that too? What I'm going to do is read for you the Declaration of Mothers Pledge and Proclamation for the preservation of liberty and virtue. And this pledge is in honor of God, our founders, our freedoms, and our families, and is with a firm commitment towards future generations that I, Martha Bonnetta, solemnly promise and pledge to openly declare that our rights come from God, not government, to make quality family life my highest priority, to study and defend the U.S. Constitution and thus principles of freedom that it maintains, to live a virtuous, moral, and upright life, to educate and nurture the rising generation within my sphere of influence towards good and moral pursuits. Friends, we are in a critical time in our American history, and we as mothers, as women that love our families and cherish them, we have the opportunity through our spheres of influence to create generations to come that not only will know what freedom is, but will love and want to nurture and protect it just like we do. And it's for this reason that I'm reaching out and asking all of you to join us in this commitment, to go to www.momsmarchusa.com. If you haven't done it already, you have your iPhones in front of you or your laptops, and everyone at home, go to www.momsmarchusa.com. And I'm going to ask you to bless us all, to bless our great nation that God has blessed, to donate to momsmarchusa.com so that we may continue this incredible journey uniting moms all across our great nation together for moms marches, not only in their states, but to create a movement, a swell, and it's already taken off. Thousands and thousands of moms all across our great nation have united right now, right here today. They're watching, they're signing this pledge, and I'd like you to sign this pledge as well. And we really need you to donate. Your donations make it possible for us to create a nationwide tsunami of moms, because what we need more than anything else is to bring in the moms and unite behind our values for our great nation for generations to come. So will you join me? Will you join me and sign up for the pledge, the Mother's Pledge? And will you go ahead and sign up and dig deep and donate to this incredible, worthy cause? That's right. It has been an incredible honor and privilege to meet so many great Americans, to share this stage with women that have made such a significant impact right now in our great nation. And their impact is going to affect generations to come. And I know in my heart that my dream will come true. Thank you. God bless you all, and God bless our great nation. Thank you.
All right, if you have watched Duck Dynasty, and let's face it, who hasn't, you will recognize our next guest, Missy Robertson. Now, Missy and her family have done more than practically anyone else I can think of to make life, family, faith, motherhood, fatherhood all popular again. Exactly, they made it popular. Who would have thought that those things could be popular in the America we live in today? But they have done it. What you may not know is that Missy herself has already been uniting women. She has a website, a jewelry website, Laminin. Go there. It's not just that the jewelry is beautiful. The stories of what she's doing to unite women and bring them together to serve each other, that's what is truly inspiring. Welcome, Missy Robertson.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here all day and waiting for me. I think I'm the last one. So it's good to see that you haven't left, and I appreciate that. You know, moms are here for one reason: to unite together for our families. That's why we're here. We've heard a lot of the same things today. I know I have. I think, wait a minute, I wanted to say that. Wait a minute, she's saying what I want to say. And so many of the other speakers have said the same thing because we're here for the same purpose. There may be one thing, though, that you have not heard me say ever before. I'm here to make an announcement today. That announcement is that I, Missy Robertson, am a true feminist in every sense of the word. I am a woman, a female, in every sense of that word. I'm not ashamed of my body. I'm not ashamed that it can make and carry babies. I am not ashamed of being a mom. I'm not ashamed of being a helpmate to my husband, who is male. I stand for women's rights because there just so happens to be a thing called woman. And I am not ashamed to say that I was created by God Almighty to be a woman. When my family's reality television show became successful, people started asking me all kinds of questions everywhere I went. The number one question during that first year was, how did you get your children to be so respectful? It stunned me because my initial response was, they have no choice. If they are disrespectful, there are consequences. Respect for others is learned at an early age. If it isn't, it is much harder to come by as an adult. My parents used to tell me, the teacher is always right. Have you heard that before? Even though they knew that teachers do sometimes make mistakes, my parents' point was this: your teacher is the boss at school, worthy of your respect. You may not like him or her, but you will respect them. If I got in trouble at school, I got in trouble at home. The same exact thing went with the principal, my coach, the preacher, the police officer when I was pulled over for my first ticket. Respect. Hear me when I say there are exceptions. It is never right for an adult in any situation to abuse or harm a child, ever. Respect for the position of authority is what I'm addressing here. Respect for the position of authority is what is failing in our country today. Where there is no respect for authority, there is no respect for the rule of law. When the culture demands to turn against God's wisdom, we teach our children to respect the law, but trust God as the ultimate authority and establisher of governments. Romans 13:1 says, the authorities that exist have been established by God. The reality is that our great nation was founded on Christian principles. George Washington said, it is impossible to rightly govern a nation without God and the Bible. Our Constitution ensures that when a person is accused of a crime, he or she is innocent until proven guilty. However, in this age of media overload, where regurgitation of the same subject is broadcast 24/7, we're not allowed to form an opinion based on facts. We are demanded to choose a side based on gender, race, sexual orientation, or even gender confusion. This becomes the issue rather than the accused person's actions. And if we demand the person be held accountable for these actions, we are then accused of bigotry and racism. My husband and I teach our children that perception is not reality, but rather reality is reality. We teach them to respect reality. That reality is that we love God, we love all of those that He created, and we trust His standards. Romans 13:10 says, "Love is the fulfillment of the law." In a culture that says you deserve everything, we teach our children it's not about you. Respect reality. As our culture changes, we see our laws change. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution ensures, and I quote, "There is no prohibition on the free exercise of religion." Yet, when our culture demanded that prayer be removed from our children's schools, that free exercise was stripped right out from under them. God is pro-prayer. To learn and understand the value of praying to our Father is education at its finest. Noah Webster, the author of the Webster Dictionary, said, "Education without the Bible is useless." Respect for reality. Our culture convinced us that a life growing inside a woman's belly is not yet human. Yet DNA technology proved that an untruth. We were told that they are not life until they are born. Yet ultrasound technology reveals a beating heart by 8 weeks gestation. By 10 weeks, her fingers and toes are fully formed. By 13 weeks, your baby has its own unique fingerprints, different from any other human. Isn't that amazing? These are just a few initial milestones that a mother celebrates as she awaits the arrival of her wanted child. But what about the unwanted child? That baby still achieves the exact same milestones. The only difference in the two babies is that one is wanted and the other is not. In a culture that discards life for the sake of convenience, we tell our children that life is infinitely precious. For the reality is that we are all made in the image of the Almighty God. Psalm 139:13 and 15 says, "You created me in my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place." Those who advocate pro-choice have taken a gift from God, which is the freedom to choose, to justify the taking of the ultimate gift, which is life. Despite this, God still offers grace and newness to those who have made wrong choices. God is pro-choice, and He always chooses life. Respect reality. Our current law contradicts Jesus' definition of marriage, which says in Matthew 19:4-5, "At the beginning, the Creator made them male and female and said, 'For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh.' And yet, this same Jesus offers forgiveness and transformation to those who trust Him. When society says you can bypass your genetic code and be whatever gender you want to be, we tell our children, your gender is determined by DNA. That DNA was given specifically to you by the Almighty Creator of the universe. God is pro-sex. He created it. Jesus defined it, and families are formed from it. Respect reality. Our current culture has demanded the removal of all forms of Christian artifacts from government property. One pundit said, and I quote, "I'm all about Jesus. I just don't want Him on public property." God is, period. Whether you want Jesus in the public square or not, whether you want him in your child's school or not, and whether you want him right here in the middle of the USA in Omaha, Nebraska or not, he's here. Jesus says in John 8:58, before Abraham was born, I am. Paul warned Timothy over 2,000 years ago with these words, for the time will come when men will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside to myths. So, what are we really teaching our children? My husband and I teach our children that there is a God and you aren't him. Respect reality. We must ask ourselves, are we going to let the culture change us, or are we going to change the culture? Whatever happens around us, there is one thing that will never change. Hebrews 13:8 says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. He is the way, the truth, and the life. We must teach our children to live by that truth. We must show our children that we as moms will stand up for that truth, and we must unite as moms to lead our children to the truth. That truth is Jesus Christ. If America is to ever return to her glory, we as moms must unite, stand up, take back our homes, love our husbands, and protect our children. America shall return to her glory when we as moms acknowledge the one, the only one who is worthy, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That is the ultimate reality. Respect it. Thank you.
You guys have been just tremendous. Thanks for hanging in with us all day long. I just wanted to introduce you to one more of our Mommies in Training, hardworking backstage. Here she is, Miss Cassie Fletcher.
This was not planned. I'm not wearing makeup. My hair is not made. I apologize. But as much as we've heard some really, really wonderful speakers today, as much as we've met some really, really amazing women who have said some wonderful things that we can all take with us and take to heart and just make it become a part of us as we move this great movement forward, I feel like there's one part that has been underrepresented, and that's those who aren't moms yet. I am not married. I do not have kids. But I am a homemaker. I have been, I'm sorry, I'm super nervous. I have been since I was 18 years old, and I moved out. I had my first home as a small apartment that I shared with 4 other girls. I made it up. I made it my own, and it was mine. My next few homes were a little different. Some were bigger, some were smaller, but they were mine, and I made them. And for every girl out there who isn't married yet, who doesn't have kids yet, who maybe doesn't want that, but we still speak for you, we do, because you're a homemaker, and it is your divine right. So take it and own it and make it yours. Sorry. And now, I want to reintroduce you to the person who made this all possible, someone who is very near and dear to my heart, and I hope is very near and dear to all of yours, the person who made me the person that I am today, who I would not be without, and I don't want to. My mother, the wonderful Kimberly Fletcher. And now we're going to surprise her once more. Because what is a wonderful woman without the man who helps her? She made this possible, and he was with her the whole time. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't expect that. He's awesome. I just have to tell you, I said this the other night, but I have to say it again because he really is awesome. I can speak before you, and I have sung before thousands of people, and I don't know, I guess that's my gift, and it doesn't bother me. But when my printer stops working, I collapse and sob in the corner, and then my white knight in shining armor comes galloping in and says, "It's okay, baby, I've got it," and flips a switch. I love him. And they're lavender. Okay, so, you know, we are to the end of this day, but we are at the beginning of a mighty movement. We have had our challenges from the very beginning, and I've been blown away at all the challenges that we've had today. All the guys in the back are like, this shouldn't be happening. I don't know why. The live stream is not working. Facebook is shutting us down, and media doesn't want to talk about us. But I want to give kudos to all the media who came today, because we had all of our local media here. So I'll exclude you from all my media remarks in the future. One of the things that I always, I don't know, gets me is we get these really awesome events and we leave and we're all pumped up, and then we're halfway to the car, we shut off the live stream and we're like, well, now what? Well, ladies, let me give you the now what. I've got some people who are going to be passing these around right now. We got some gifts for you, so don't leave yet. This is your Mom's March Culture Warrior Toolbox, okay? This is just the beginning. These are some of the people that you've heard today, the resources and support that they have, and a little goodie that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But on the front of this, it talks about the Cottage Meeting Project. This is the signature project of Homemakers for America, and it is taking the nation by storm. It's just this book. And what it is 12 simple presentations that you can have in your home, just like we do like a home party. Everybody knows what a home party is. This is something women already know. Only instead of talking about candles and plasticware, we're talking about the principles of liberty that our nation was founded on and that will heal our land from the inside out, from our homes and our hearts. This book is like I said, 12 presentations. You can easily bring mothers into your home. The presentations are done with inspiring stories and personal examples and relatable experiences, and you will understand liberty in a way that you never have before. And I will tell you what, we get emails from women all the time who say when they went and met with their mayor or their legislator or their person in their school, and they were mentioning some of the things that they had just learned in here, they were like, oh, I didn't know that. And I promise you that if you go through this, even the goal was to put something together that if all you did was meet once a month for a year, by the end of that year, you would know more about liberty and the principles of liberty and on our rights than most of the lawyers and elected officials in this country. And I'm telling you, it works. We have been stripped of our history and heritage, and our goal is to give it back. And this is one way that we can do that. And all of these presentations are linked online as well, and we've tied it in with home and family. So when you hold these cottage meetings, you go home with a take-home assignment and an enrichment activity that you can do with your family. And I promise you, it is life-changing. My cheat sheet notes. One of the other books that we use, we have some core resources that we use in the Cottage Meeting Project. And one of them is this amazing book. How many of you have heard of the 5,000-Year Leap? These are the 28 principles of liberty that our country was founded on. And we tie it in with this book. And this is something that you can just, do once a week with your family. Sit down and just talk about one of these principles and relate it to what's going on in our country today. And you'll be blown away at just how smart our founding fathers were and that they were supported by their families. There's no way that a guy is going to go out and risk his whole entire family by signing a document without talking to them first. This was a family affair. Everybody was about freedom, and we need to get back there again. Another thing that we have got to know, I have a very special gift for you, and that's being handed out right now. I am a mother, and I am proud to be a mother. And I am proud to have served beside my husband in the United States Air Force for the last 27 years. We have traveled the country and we have been to a lot of places and we've made our sacrifices because military is a family affair. But I will tell you that marrying that man changed my life. Prior to marrying him, I always loved my country and I always thought I was patriotic. But I did not become a patriot until I said I do to this man in 1985. And then I realized what patriotism truly was on 9/11. When my husband, who was stationed at the Pentagon, through a series of miracles on 9/11, was able to come home to me. And I promised myself and my family that day, that I would do whatever it took to make sure my children remained free. I envision myself and all of you standing on the front lines of freedom, like that wonderful battle warrior armed with the armor of God and standing with the sword in our hand, and that sword is the Constitution of the United States that protects our divine rights as mothers. These are our children. Thou shalt not pass. Read it, know it, and share it. This pocket Constitution was designed just for us. Wear your lavender proud. Know it. Read it. Share it with your family. Carry it. This is one we can throw in our purses, our pockets, and keep in our homes. And when you have a question or someone questions you, open it up. This is our mighty sword. Our rights do not come from government, they come from God. And this document protects those divine given rights. Finally, if you all have this now, if you'll look on the back, on the bottom, it says A Day with a Mother. I'm going to tell you about that because this is the first big initiative that I am announcing. On March 8th, every year, we celebrate International Women's Day. It has been stolen and taken from what its original intent was. I am reclaiming it as International Mother's Influence Day. And this is our day with a mother. Wear lavender. If you want one of our shirts, hey, there's a movement afoot, lady. Check this one out. All kinds of sayings, all kinds of designs. On March 8th every year, we encourage you to wear your lavender. If you go to school, go out to school. If you work, go to work. Give them your best and let them know you're spending a day with a mother. Go out and serve in your community. Bring your children with you. Put some lavender on them. And serve in the community. Be seen, be heard. Because March 8th is now International Mother's Influence Day. When I started this, when I answered that call, I thought this was a one-time thing and we'd just, promote the things that we have going on. But I have been overrun and overruled. We will be doing this again next year. Bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and no amount of negative pushes against us or technological challenges or Facebook shutting out donate buttons is going to stop this movement train. We are going to be having a couple of things available to you. I want to make sure that you know that the vendors are going to be open. And please visit them, because all these people who have who've brought their books, people who have brought incredible artwork. If you have not had a chance to look at the items from the friendship, or from the Merci train, and learn the story of the friendship train, please visit these things. And World Changer. Karen Vaughn had to leave and catch a flight, but she left all her books with us to sell, and we will send her the check for those. And you can buy those right at the Homemakers for America Moms March table, which is straight back there. I want to thank my team, God's team, God's army, the mama warriors who've been doing this. I tried to collect them to get them all out here, and I don't think we can find them, but pretty much if you can find a lavender shirt with a logo on it, it's probably us. But I have a remarkable group of women who have come to us from all over the country to be here to make this happen. We've been on conference calls for the last 6 months, and it was like a big party when they came. Oh, I haven't seen her. I don't know her face, but I'm like, oh, it's you. This is what we have the power to do. Today, all we have to have is a phone, a cell phone, a laptop, a kitchen table, and we can rule the world. Let's do it. So I want to thank our sponsors once again, every one of the amazing people who helped us on this. Debbie Kay, she came out here, you got to see her. She was the one who sang with her daughter. She is the one that produced this whole show. Let's give her a huge round of applause. I couldn't have done this without her. And Joe Carey, who helped push our social media out, that got us on the map, and every single person, every single amazing mother who has supported this event, who has been on this team. And they're on our website, and we're going to keep doing this, so you'll get to meet them more in the future. Those of you who did not get to see this event live and who had problems on the live stream, the whole entire show, including those that were blocked out, that we had to block out the song for reasons of copyright, but the whole entire show is being recorded, and it will be, the live stream will be posted on our website on Monday, Tuesday timeframe, and we will send out an email to all of you. So come on the Moms March website, join our email list, and we will keep you posted. One last thing, and I don't usually do this because I'm very, very poor at self-promoting, even though I've been out here all day long. I did write a book, and it is called Women, America's Last Best Hope. And I'm telling you because, one, all of the proceeds go to Homemakers for America. I've donated all of my books to Homemakers for America, much to my husband's chagrin. And all of the things that we've been talking about over the last couple of days, everybody keeps coming to me and saying, where'd you get that story? Well, how did you know that? I put it all in my book, because this book was my discovery, and I put it all in one place so I could share it with other mothers so that they would know this is who you are. This is the power that you have. We literally hold the future of America in our hands, and hope is reflected in our vision of the future. This is our place. These are our children, and we do have the right, the privilege, the honor, and the responsibility to shape the future of our nation, beginning in our homes and then in our communities. And our nation, for generations, there will be children who will rise up and call us blessed because of what we did here this day and as we go forward. And now one more very special gift. Redhead Express has written a song just for us. It is our Moms March theme. You're going to be hearing it a lot after this. And all the words are going to be up on the screen so you can sing it with us. This is our day, ladies. Let's take our country and our culture back. God bless you.
She is an African drum, she is a leathering mace, she is the salt and the light, the safest place. She is a frontline soldier, she's a battle cry. voice of change that rings through the night. And at the heart of it all, hers are the hands that are quietly turning the wheel of the world. No one can take her place in the life of a child, one day at a time. A million threads in a master design, the star of the show, and she don't even know she's an unsung hero. Questions whisper like secrets, and the doubts start to flow. Anytime that she pictures letting them go, she hopes that she's enough and let them know their way. It's a mother's prayer at the end of the day. And at the heart of it all, hers are the hands that are quietly turning the wheel of the world. No one can take her place in the life of a child, one day at a time. A million threads in a master design, the star of the show, and she don't even know she's an unsung hero. In her eyes, she is no superstar. She thinks she's never enough, never enough. Oh, in her eyes, she is no superstar, but there is never enough of her kind of love. And at the heart of it all, hers are the hands that are quietly turning the wheel of the world. No one can take her place in the life of a child, one day at a time. A million threads in a master design, the star of the show, and she don't even know she's an unsung hero. She's an unsung hero.
Thank you so much. We are so thrilled to be able to be part of this event. Thank you, Kimberly, for having us, and just honored to be here. We wanted to go ahead and do this one more time, just the chorus, and one of you guys could sing along with us, close us out with the last chorus of this song. Got the words up on the screen. Can you guys do that for us? I heard about 3 of you. Let's try that again. You guys gonna help us out? All right, there we go. All right, ready?
And at the heart of it all, hers are the hands that are quietly turning the wheel of the world. No one can take her place in the life of a child, one day at a time. A million threads in a master design, the star of the show, and she don't even know she's an unsung hero. She's an unsung hero.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
God bless.
Now, our TV's off now, I think. Broadcasting's off. Do you guys want to hear one song? One or two more? All right. All right, well, we'll do one more. Yeah. Okay. We'll finish now that we got screens off and everything. This is one that I wrote called Stardust, and just kind of talks about we all go through trials in life. We all go through things that are really difficult, and for each of us it's different. And it's always really, really hard when you're in the middle of it. But we just have to remember that we're bigger than all of that. We're bigger than whatever we're going through. We're made of stardust. That's what this one's called. We'll let you guys go out with this one. All right. 1, 2, 1.